Sorry, I can't help with rewriting a chapter from a book when you've only given a link, a location-based request. I can help in other ways, though. I can provide a detailed summary of the chapter if you'd like. I can rewrite or edit the chapter if you paste the text here, up to about 10,000 characters. I can produce a scene-by-scene recap, character analysis, or suggest stylistic improvements. Which would you prefer? The sky was a pure, cloudless blue. The midsummer sun hung overhead like a blazing coin. It was 3 in the afternoon at Yan District 3rd High School, sophomore class 1. The bell rang through the corridors. Luo Xia snapped his workbook closed and slid it into his backpack, ready to head home. A pretty girl hurried over with her notebook of mistakes in hand, cheeks flushed. Luo Xia, could you help me for a second? I didn't understand what the teacher meant about this problem, she asked, holding out her zetipan. Luo Xia glanced at the page, noted what confused her, took a pen, wrote a few tidy annotations, and slung his backpack over one shoulder. If you still don't get it, come find me tomorrow, he said with an easy smile, then turned for the door. Standing there waiting was a broad-shouldered figure in a training uniform, Luo Feng, his older brother, about 1.72 meters tall. Luo Xia walked up and grinned. Brother, why are you here? I came to pick you up, Luo Feng replied, smiling. I'm not a girl. Don't fuss over me. Luo Xia rolled his eyes, and the two of them left the classroom together. Immediately, chatter rose behind them. That was Luo Xia's brother, right? Luo Feng. Wasn't he one of the school's advanced trainees in martial arts? Yeah, I heard only 4 students in the entire high school hold that title, and he's one of them. Both of them are advanced trainees? No wonder Luo Xia's so good. He studies well, and his martial arts are top-notch. He'll get into Jiangnan First Military Academy for sure, maybe even Beijing First. Comparing just makes you unhappy, someone muttered. The brothers followed the crowd out of the teaching building when a deep voice called, Luo Feng! Luo Feng, wait! They turned to see Zhang Hu striding up, huge, at least 1.9 meters tall. He'd been in the same grade and, not long ago, had challenged Luo Xia and lost badly. Zhang Hu eyed them for a moment, then looked awkward. Luo Feng's senior brother, I was wondering if you could help me with something, he stammered. Luo Feng arched an eyebrow. What do you need? Zhang Hu balled his huge fist as if to illustrate and rubbed his knuckles. When I train my punches, I can't seem to get my qi release right. The teacher said I should be able to add 50% more force, but when I try, I never reach that. Could someone show me where I'm going wrong? Luo Xia, standing beside his brother, couldn't help but chip in. It's your technique. He handed his backpack to Luo Feng, stepped into a proper stance, and began to explain. The teacher teaches that force should start from the feet, but watching you just now, when the force travels from your feet up into your thighs and waist don't act as one. There's a disconnect, and you lose a lot of power there. He demonstrated. Power rose from his soles, wrapped through his legs and torso, and he suddenly threw a punch. The sound cracked like a firework. The surge of force carried qi with it, an audible, whistling energy that blew Zhang Hu's hair backward. Nearby students gasped. Zhang Hu stared, stunned. Do you understand? Luo Xia asked. After a few slow blinks, Zhang Hu nodded as if in a daze. Luo Xia withdrew his fist. All right then, let's go home. Luo Feng handed the backpack back to his brother, smiling. Your name's Zhang Hu, right? Little brother, my brother's method is sound. If it were me, I'd show you the same. Hope it helps. Zhang Hu was all gratitude. Thank you, senior brother Luo Feng. Thank you, Luo Xia. Luo Xia waved it off. The two brothers turned away, leaving Zhang Hu watching them go, excitement written all over his face as he muttered to himself about the coordination problems in his hips and thighs. A student nearby sighed in admiration. That's what being an advanced trainee looks like, the way he taught on the spot. It opened my eyes. Luo Xia and Luo Feng are so down to earth, another agreed. They never turn people away when someone asks. Rumors about the other 2 advanced trainees, Zhang Haobai and Liu Ting, spread in contrast. Those 2 are from rich families, arrogant. They'd never bother to help us. Guiding students would be beneath them. I heard the Luos weren't always well off, someone else said. They used to live in public housing. Luo Xia even worked online part-time to help the family before they moved out. Their progress came from hard training, Every punch and kick refined. Exactly. That's why everyone respects them. Meanwhile, Luo Feng and Luo Xia fell into step with their friend Wei Wen, who was in a tracksuit. Xia, Feng, did you see? That big guy who came to you for tips was praising you to everyone as he left, Wei Wen teased. Luo Feng smiled and raised an eyebrow. What, Wei Wen? Jealous? Jealous of you two? Wei Wen rubbed his nose and laughed. If I were truly jealous, I'd lose decades off my life. From childhood till now, I've always been one step behind you two. I've cultivated a peaceful mind, unbothered by envy or sorrow. Luo Xia cupped his hands mockingly like he was offering congratulations. Congratulations, Brother Wen. You've reached the serenity of a sage. Shut up! Wei Wen waved a hand and scolded him good-naturedly. The trio laughed as they approached the school gate. Wei Wen suddenly stopped and pointed ahead. Luo Feng, look quick. There she is, the girl you like. Chapter 2, full of comprehension. Luo Feng froze. He followed Wei Wen's outstretched finger and saw a girl with a ponytail walking along the curb in jeans and a pale polo shirt. Luo Xia, standing beside him, glanced over and muttered, "Sk, the future sister-in-law." The girl was Xu Xin, the romantic interest from the original novel. Luo Feng didn't stare. Just a quick look, then he looked away. Luo Xia watched his brother with a hint of affection before lifting his head to the clear blue sky, feeling something like nostalgia. It had been more than 10 years since he'd transmigrated into this world. Back on Earth, he had been an ordinary person. One night, reading late, he had inexplicably switched to this life and was born as Luo Feng's extra younger brother, someone who, in the original timeline, shouldn't have existed. Luo Xia had arrived at the same time as Luo Feng's other brother, Luo Hua, essentially making them twins. Because Luo Hua had been delivered first and Luo Xia second, their father named them Luo Hua and Luo Xia, the characters together evoking China. From his crib, Luo Xia had discovered his soul was unusually powerful. His mental energy awakened right after birth, and even as an infant, he could subtly affect the world around him. He could snatch a pacifier out of the air from a distance. As he grew, he realized that he learned astonishingly fast. Whatever he looked at, he could remember, understand, and master. It was as if his comprehension ability for this life had been maxed out. At 3 years old, he stumbled across the 5 hearts towards the sky cultivation method on the internet. From that simple guiding technique, he deduced and comprehended a far more advanced guiding method. Where the 5 hearts method would normally allow someone to refine universe energy for only a few minutes a day before their cells became saturated, the technique Luo Xia derived permitted continuous absorption of universe energy 24 hours a day. But it was too advanced for ordinary people. To cultivate it, you needed the physique of at least an advanced warrior. So Luo Xia didn't stop there. He also fused insights from ancient texts like the I Ching and from yoga videos to deduce a powerful forging body technique. Because his mental energy had awakened so early, his constitution was naturally stronger than most. Though he was officially only a senior trainee at the martial arts academy, his physical strength and body were already at the advanced warrior level. He chose to hide that strength, not wanting to attract attention and preferring to keep pace with his older brother, Luo Feng. Genius fit him, but not the kind that made life impossible for everyone else. At that moment, 1,000 meters above Yan District, something immense cut across the sky. A black-crowned golden eagle, nearly 20 meters long, swept over the city. Its feathers shone with a cold, metallic luster. The feathers on its head were a deep black, like a crown. Its golden talons were razor-sharp. From a distance, it looked like a living fighter jet. A murderous light burned in its blue-tinged eyes as it stared down at the human city. Then, without warning, its wings beat with savage intensity, and it accelerated, breaking the sound barrier in an instant. A piercing eagle cry ripped from its throat. The sound itself became visible, rippling outward. Down on the street, Luo Xia and his friends were waiting at a crosswalk when the cry hit. They all instinctively covered their ears as the explosive wail made their heads ring. The high frequency shook the glass of a nearby skyscraper. Cracks spidered across the panes and shards began to fall. Glass clattered onto sidewalks and the road, skittering off streetlights in a deadly spray. Pa! Bang! Cha-cha! The intersection turned dangerous in a heartbeat. A razor-like shard spun toward Luo Xia. He narrowed his eyes, reached out faster than lightning, and pinched it midair. He tossed the shard into a trash can and looked up, catching sight of the faint sonic boom cloud trailing the enormous creature. "How powerful," Luo Feng said, his voice tense with excitement. "One cry from up there caused all that damage. It must be an incredibly formidable flying monster." He turned to Wei Wen. "You always know about monsters. Do you know what that was?" Wei Wen glanced at Luo Xia and retorted, "Why ask me? Ask Luo Xia. He's our walking monster encyclopedia." Luo Feng laughed. "I'm not giving him a chance to show off today." Then he looked at Luo Xia and added, "Okay, Brother Wen, give it a shot. Let's see if you're right." Wei Wen squinted at the sky, a gleam of excitement in his eyes. "Our city's air defense is set at 500 meters. Since it didn't trigger, that thing must be higher than 500 meters. And for its cry to be that powerful from such a distance, it's not an ordinary beast. If I'm not mistaken, that should be the black-crowned golden eagle, one of the top 3 among eagle-type monsters." Luo Feng turned to Luo Xia. "Is Brother Wen right?" Luo Xia nodded. "He's not wrong. A flying monster that emits a scream that piercing and acts that brazenly would indeed be the black-crowned golden eagle." The black-crowned golden eagle was terrifying. Its wings were as hard as alloy. Even artillery capable of piercing 50-millimeter steel couldn't break them. It was a fearsome raptor. Luo Feng looked up at the sky, blood hot with resolve. "One day, I'll become a powerful martial artist. I'll kill the monsters that threaten humanity." "Brother, we're almost home," Luo Xia called, pulling Luo Feng back from the old habit of walking forward. Luo Feng scratched his head sheepishly. He often still found himself heading toward the public housing complex where they'd once lived, even though they had moved out. "Brother Wen, we'll part ways here," Luo Xia said to their friend. Wei Wen nodded and then asked with a shrug, "By the way, Luo Xia, Luo Feng, are you two going to the martial arts academy tonight?" Luo Feng replied, "I've got a tutoring job tonight. Thanks to Luo Xia, our family moved out of public housing, and I want to pitch in. I might head to the academy after the tutoring if I can." Wei Wen smiled. "All right, I won't wait then. I'll head over after dinner." They said goodbye, and Luo Xia and Luo Feng walked toward the house. Luo Xia had rented a small detached 3-story home he'd rented after making money online. Why rent instead of buy? Because Luo Xia knew that once Luo Feng finished his college entrance exam, they'd move into a larger villa. Buying now would be wasteful, so they rented this place for the present. At home, their parents and their other brother, Luo Hua, were waiting. Thanks to Luo Xia's interventions, Luo Hua had not become disabled as in the original timeline. That said, he attended a different school, the First High School of Yan District. First High wasn't ordinary. It was a prestigious school for highly intelligent students who typically didn't pursue martial arts. With Luo Xia's aptitude, he could have gotten into First High himself, but he needed time to cultivate, so he and Luo Feng went to Third High School together. Chapter 3. A Family. "Dad, Mom, we're home!" Luo Feng and Luo Xia called as they came in. Their father, Luo Hongguo, looked up from the sofa where he'd been watching TV and smiled. "You're back. Hungry? Your mother's already finished cooking. Dinner will be ready soon." Luo Xia dropped his backpack on the nearest couch and grinned. Not very hungry yet. He glanced at Luo Hua, who was sitting nearby engrossed in a book. "Second brother, what are you reading?" Luo Hua turned a page, pushed his glasses up his nose, and returned the smile. "Master Price's collected works. He's an investment expert." "Tsk, I remember some of your ideas sound a lot like his," Luo Xia teased. Luo Hua nodded and kept reading, occasionally looking up to ask for Xiaoxia's opinion. Both of them were brilliant at finance. The small building the family now lived in was bought with money they'd made from online investments. They fell into a quiet discussion about theories and strategies while Luo Hongguo watched them from the sofa, beaming. Luo Feng didn't follow their talk. He shrugged, sat down, and pulled a history book from his backpack to go over. A warm voice floated in from the kitchen. "Dinner's ready!" The 3 boys rose to go wash up, but Luo Hongguo beat them to it with a cheerful laugh. "You study! Study! I'll get it!" He headed for the kitchen just as Gong Xinlan stepped out with a wooden spoon in her hand. She rolled her eyes at her husband. "The food's ready. What's there to study?" The kids study all day at school. It's time for them to relax. She looked at the boys. Sons, come sit. I made your favorite, braised pork. Aye, the boys answered and set aside their books. The table was already laid out. Braised pork, kung pao chicken, white radish stewed with ribs, and stir-fried greens, 4 dishes and a soup. They ate and talked about the small things of daily life. After dinner, Luo Xia and his brothers cleared the table while Luo Hongguo settled back on the sofa. Eldest son, come here. Dad wants to ask you something, he called. Luo Feng sat across from him. What's up, Dad? Luo Hongguo smiled. I've never asked you about plans after graduation. What are you thinking? Luo Feng thought a moment. With my grades, I can get into Jiangnan First Military Academy through the college entrance exam. I already have the dojo title of senior trainee, so at the first academy, I'll be trained directly as an officer. If I go, you and Mom could move into military family housing. Luo Xia muttered under his breath. Plans don't always survive the unexpected, big brother. Your exam might not go smoothly. He sounded worried. There were things that could happen during the college entrance exam that might disrupt even the best-laid plans. Luo Hongguo listened and nodded. Good, you've thought it through. But don't put too much pressure on yourself. If you don't get in, it's okay. Our family is doing well. Luo Hua spoke up. That's right. Xiao Xia and I can earn money now. You don't have to take all the burden. Luo Feng smiled at them. Their investments had helped the family move out of subsidized housing. He appreciated their contributions. Don't worry, he said. If I don't make the first military academy, I'll go to the second military academy. With the senior trainee title, I'll still be trained as an officer. The treatment won't be much different. Luo Hongguo's eyes shone with pride. You've never given your mother and me cause for real worry, Xiao Feng. Do what you think is best. Then he turned to Xiao Xia. Xiao Xia, come here. I want to ask you something too. Xiao Xia sat down beside his eldest brother. Last time you said you'd take the college entrance exam with him. Are you confident? Xiao Xia smiled. Dad, I finished high school coursework back in junior high. If I hadn't wanted to keep a low profile, and since the dojo doesn't take students until 16, I'd have taken the exam in my first year of high school. Luo Hongguo's smile widened until it almost split his face. The family genes, it seemed, had been very kind to him. He had 3 sons, each extraordinary in his own way. The eldest gifted toward martial training and already a dojo senior trainee. The second, Luo Hua, a finance prodigy with a sharp mind. And Xiao Xia, the third, who combined academic brilliance with martial capability and had already surpassed expectations in many areas. A proud father indeed. Since you're so confident, then go ahead, Luo Hongguo said. Gong Xinlan, a touch worried, asked, Did your teacher agree to you taking the exam early? He did, Xiao Xia answered. His comprehension ability was so high, his teachers had nothing left to teach him, so they supported his skipping ahead. Good, Gong Xinlan nodded and asked, After the exam, are you planning to apply to the Jiangnan First Military Academy too? No, Luo Xia shook his head. After the exam, I want to join the dojo of Limits and become a dojo martial artist. The military required strict discipline and rules he wasn't sure he'd fit into. The dojo's regulations were more relaxed. It suited him better. Gong Xinlan and Luo Hongguo exchanged a look. So not university? She asked. Xiao Xia smiled. Mother, university would be a waste of time for me. I can learn what I need from books. Luo Feng added, You know how smart he is. A university degree wouldn't mean much for him. Let him choose. Luo Hongguo chuckled and spread his hands. All 3 of you have your own plans. Your mother and I can't do much more than support you, so decide for yourselves. The conversation petered out into contented chatter as the family lingered over tea, each brother thinking in his own way about the future and the paths that lay just ahead. Chapter 4. Luo Xia's Strength and Training. After finishing his conversation with his parents, Luo Xia went back to his room. The detached villa had many rooms. Each of the 3 brothers had his own. Once inside, Luo Xia logged on and began trading, buying, selling, making investments. In a short while, his linked account had swelled to over 1,000,000 yuan. Across the house, Luo Feng and Luo Hua stayed at the table, studying and reviewing until evening. When the clock on the living room wall neared 6, Luo Feng stood and said to Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan, Dad, Mom, it's getting late. I have to go tutor. All right, be careful on your way, Gong Xinlan replied, watching him head for the door. As soon as Luo Feng left, Luo Xia heard the movement and stuck his head out his window. Big brother, I'm not waiting for you. I'm heading straight to the dojo. Luo Feng looked up, gave a nod. Go ahead, I'll come after tutoring. The Dojo of Limits. Founded by the world's strongest man Hong, it was universally recognized as the top martial arts school on Earth. Branches were everywhere, but the main complex was enormous, bigger than some pre-Nirvana universities. In the late sunlight, it sprawled across the land like a sleeping giant. 3 silver-white buildings rose from the grounds, streamlined like spacecraft. They housed the elementary, intermediate, and advanced trainee programs. Luo Xia arrived, pulled his trainee ID from his pocket, and swiped it. A small gate opened, and he stepped into the compound. Walking the courtyard path, he was greeted by many trainees, most older than he was, but as an advanced trainee, they all called him Senior Brother. He went up to the 3rd floor of the advanced building. The training hall there was massive, more than 100 meters across, and a dozen or so people were already at work. The advanced trainees who trained at the dojo tended not to be from wealthy families. The rich usually had private training rooms at home. The moment Luo Xia entered, voices rose. Prodigy! Look, the madman's prodigy is here. Senior Brother Li, Senior Brother Yang. He smiled and waved. Yang Wu, one of the more talkative trainees, saw Luo Xia arrive alone and asked, puzzled, Where's your madman brother? I thought he came with you. A little while earlier, Luo Feng had earned the nickname Madman by angrily beating 3 wealthy advanced trainees in a row. Luo Xia, on the other hand, had been promoted to advanced trainee at 16, so everyone called him Prodigy. Luo Xia shrugged. He's tutoring someone. He'll be here later. After a few more greetings, Luo Xia wandered to the side of the hall, where a fist-strength testing rig stood. He wanted to check his punch power. The benchmark for an advanced warrior's punching power is 4,000 units, he muttered to himself. Last time I barely reached 4008. I wonder how much I've improved this month. He settled into the rhythm of deep, measured breaths, muscles slowly aligning. Then, like a coiled cat, he exploded forward. His feet drove into the floor, his body a taut bowstring, and his fists slammed the machine's striking bag with a thunderous crack. For a moment, the display flashed an enormous 4-figure reading, but no one was nearby to see that spike. Yang Wu heard the noise and called out, Xia, did you just break through again? That was loud. Luo Xia smiled and steadied himself. He restrained his strength and punched again, this time controlled. The machine's screen settled on a clear number, 945. Yang Wu strode over. He stared at the readout, then broke into an astonished grin. 945? Xia, you've broken into the 900s. His voice drew the others. They crowded around the machine and read the number. Their surprise grew. Wow, you're a prodigy for real. Wasn't it only 855 3 months ago? From 855 to 945 in under 3 months. That's insane. They crowded around Luo Xia, clapping and talking excitedly. Yang Wu, his face scarred from past sparring, slapped Luo Xia on the shoulder and said loudly, You're incredible, kid. You don't need a family's resources to be this strong. Talent like yours, there's just no replacing it. Luo Xia laughed modestly. You're flattering me. I still have to train harder. If you train any harder, you'll shoot up to the heavens, someone joked. Laughter broke out, then everyone dispersed and returned to their drills, refreshed and more diligent after seeing Luo Xia's performance. Luo Xia didn't test his speed. The advanced speed standard was 60 meters per second. He met it easily, but he didn't want to draw attention to his full capabilities. Instead, he retreated to a quiet corner and began his own training. He moved through a sequence that looked strange to onlookers, a set of warming drills influenced by ancient yoga and traditional Chinese martial arts, but adapted for efficiency and alignment. 18 deliberate movements warmed every muscle and joint. Then he began his main routine, a forging body technique he had devised from reading old scrolls and watching countless martial videos. The full set had 32 movements, each demanding and precise. Even for Luo Xia, who had designed the sequence, it was exhausting to perform. With each motion, he felt his cells drawing in the ambient universe energy. Slow, steady absorption that reshaped his body, improved his tissue, and strengthened his bones. To him, the process was simple and elemental. Heaven and earth were the furnace, and all things were metal to be smelted. He thought of himself as a piece of steel in that furnace, being forged by the world itself. Chapter 5. Competing with his elder brother. Luo Feng, Luo Xia, was completely absorbed in his training. He lost track of time and only noticed the hours had passed when he finished the 32 movements and finally paused to catch his breath. It was then he saw his elder brother, Luo Feng, standing not far away in the martial arts hall, warming up with the 18 movements Luo Xia had taught him. Luo Xia had never held back what he learned. Whenever he mastered a warm-up movement or a new set of forging body techniques, he passed them on to Luo Feng. So Luo Feng's strength as a senior trainee came not only from his own talent, but also from Luo Xia's instruction. Wiping the sweat from his face with a clean towel, Luo Xia watched as Luo Feng finished his warm-up. "Big brother, when did you get here?" he asked with a smile. "I just arrived a little while ago," Luo Feng replied. He walked over to the punching power tester and took a steadying breath before throwing a heavy punch. "How much?" Luo Xia asked. Luo Feng glanced at the screen and exhaled. "Just broke through to 877 kilograms. That was already very impressive. Gaining even a kilogram of punching power required enormous effort." Luo Feng grinned. "Brother Yang and the others told me you're already at 945 kilograms. Little brother, looks like you'll be eligible for the quasi-warrior assessment soon." "I plan to take the assessment after the college entrance exam," Luo Xia said. Luo Feng considered that and then nodded. "I'll push hard these next few weeks and see whether I can break through before the exam. If I can get dizzy again, maybe I can catch up to you." Luo Xia understood what he meant. The dizziness was actually fainting, a sign that preceded a mental energy awakening. Each time Luo Feng had fainted in the past, his physical qualities had jumped dramatically. He fainted once when very young, and again 5 years ago when their mother, Gong Xinlun, was hospitalized. Both times had produced large, lasting increases in his strength. Unlike Luo Feng, Luo Xia had been born with his mental energy already awakened and didn't need to rely on repeated fainting. Luo Xia peered at his brother. "Do you still get headaches often?" Luo Feng thought for a moment. "They still come occasionally, but they're not as bad as before. Every time I faint from a headache, it seems to ease a bit. 1 or 2 more times, and maybe the headaches will be gone for good." "That should happen sometime during the college entrance exam then," Luo Xia said, satisfied. After a moment, he grinned. "Do you want to spar?" "Okay, but let me test my speed first. Turn on the speed tester for me." "All right." Luo Xia activated the machine. Luo Feng took his place at the 60-meter track and exploded forward like an arrow. In practically no time at all, he had reached his top velocity. "How much?" he called back. 6 meters per second, Luo Xia replied, reading the display. Luo Feng's face lit up. "Really?" He checked the screen himself and couldn't hide his delight. With his speed already at 6 meters per second, he only needed his punching power to reach the martial artist threshold. "Let's spar," Luo Xia said. "Okay." Luo Feng nodded and they moved to the ring beside the training hall. As they faced off, chatter rose among the onlookers. "Xia and Lunatic are sparring again? Place your bets. Who wins today?" "Of course it'll be the little prodigy. Last time Lunatic was always 1 move short." Luo Xia and Luo Feng tuned out the murmurs and centered their breath. Luo Xia's eyes narrowed and he lunged first. He tested with a probing punch aimed at the opening Luo Feng had left. Luo Feng answered with a palm strike that caught Luo Xia's fist. Pain flashed in Luo Feng's palm as the force of the blow transferred through his arm, heavy and real. He pressed the captured fist down to create an opening, then lowered his shoulder to ram Luo Xia. If it landed solidly, it would knock the wind out of him. But Luo Xia had moved faster. His first punch had only been a test. Using about 60% of his chi, 40% remained in reserve. Seeing his fist trapped and Luo Feng's shoulder coming in, Luo Xia withdrew and crossed his arms to block. Luo Feng changed tactics instantly, twisting the ram into a punch that shot like a viper toward Luo Xia's stomach. Luo Xia reacted in the same instant. His crossed hands split open, his right hand snaking to strike the joint of Luo Feng's punching arm and stop the blow from fully developing, while his left hand seized the exposed opening created by Luo Feng's motion. In the space of a breath, they exchanged a flurry of attacks and defenses, punches, blocks, a feinting knee that drew attention, and every movement was sharp and decisive. The crowd below the ring watched with wide eyes. They had seen the brothers spar before and knew both had reached senior trainee quality early. Their combat intuition was already on par with some martial artists. The spar was over quickly. "Little prodigy wins again," someone shouted. "Lunatic was one move short. If he'd intercepted that elbow at the end, he could have turned it around," another added. "The little prodigy baited him with a knee, then switched. His elbow was the killing blow. From the outside we can see it, but in the ring it's so easy to be fooled. His combat intelligence is frightening. I heard the Martial Hall's curator has noticed him. This kid's going to go far." Luo Xia panted and helped Luo Feng to his feet. He grinned. "Big brother, you fell for it again." Luo Feng shook his head and gave a rueful smile. "You stinky brat." He didn't mind losing. He'd known since childhood his younger brother was strong, and in truth, he was proud. The stronger Luo Xia became, the happier Luo Feng felt as an older brother. Still, being the elder could bring its own pressure now and then. Chapter 6. The College Entrance Exam. The first one out. After their sparring session, Luo Xia and Luo Feng lingered in the martial arts hall for a while, only leaving close to 9 that night. For the next month, Luo Feng devoted nearly all his energy to studying. Luo Xia felt less pressure about the college entrance exam. He had no real intention of going to university, but he still practiced at the martial arts hall every day and felt his strength improving in small, steady ways. Time passed quickly. June 7th, 2056, the day the college entrance exam began, arrived. Though the exam dates had been retained after the Great Nirvana, the content had changed. The first day covered sciences, physics, chemistry, and biology. The second day was for humanities, history, politics, geography, and Chinese. The third day was mathematics. English, once mandatory, had been dropped since translation devices were ubiquitous. Luo Xia's family stood at the gate of First High School in Yan District. Because First High had been designated an exam site, Luo Hua, still a second-year student, had the day off. He'd come with their parents to send Luo Feng and Luo Xia. Outside, lines of students and parents milled about in the warm morning light. "Don't be nervous," their father, Luo Hongguo, told the two boys with a laugh. "Relax when you're in there. If you don't get into the first military academy, the second is fine. There are many paths." Luo Feng smiled and nodded. Luo Xia, who hadn't planned to go to university in the first place, was casual about it all. He'd come mostly to experience the atmosphere. Besides, with his comprehension ability, he didn't expect the questions to trouble him. A sleek, dark Mercedes rolled up then, flanked by police motorcycles. The crowd parted as it stopped at the school entrance. 3 men climbed out, chatting as they walked toward the gate. Whispers spread through the crowd. "The bald one on the left is Director Zhang of the District Police," someone murmured. "The one on the right, Director Liu of the Education Bureau," another guessed. "And the one in the middle, he must be the martial artist in charge of security." Luo Xia tuned his senses and felt the qi radiating from the man in the middle. He estimated the martial artist's level at no less than advanced warrior. Since the conflict with the monsters continued, martial artists occupied a prestigious place in society. Many of the parents looked at him with a mixture of respect and awe. The gate opened. People surged forward. "Entry," someone shouted. "Xiao Feng, Luo Xia, hurry in," Luo Hongguo urged. Their mother, Gong Xinlan, called after them. "Do your best, my sons. Mom will make something good when you get back. Your father and Luo Hua will wait here." "Big brother, are you next door?" Luo Hua asked as they reached the campus. "Yeah," Luo Feng answered. "Good luck," Luo Hua said to both of them. They exchanged quick smiles and walked into the exam building. Luo Xia discovered that Luo Feng's examination room was right next to his. They gave each other one last nod before going to their respective rooms. Luo Xia was seated as a second-year student, taking the exam early. The rest of the room was filled with the graduating third years. He placed his admission ticket and ID on the top right corner of his desk, as required, and waited for the invigilator to hand out the papers. The atmosphere was taut with concentration. When the invigilator distributed the test, Luo Xia glanced at the front page. The problems were straightforward. Answers and solution steps flowed into his head with the clarity of memory. He picked up his pen and began to write. Less than half an hour later, he had finished. He checked the paper, flipped it over, and everything was filled in. Neat, precise handwriting that looked almost printed. He raised his hand. The invigilator walked over, perplexed. Yes? Teacher, may I hand in my paper? Luo Xia asked quietly. The invigilator glanced at the clock. Only 30 minutes had passed, and then at the paper Luo Xia showed him. The answers were all there, clearly and correctly recorded. He hesitated. The neatness made him suspect this was a fluke or random guesses, but the work looked thorough. The examination rules had been revised after the Great Nirvana. Now, if an invigilator confirmed a completed paper, the student could leave early. All right, the invigilator said at last. You may go. Thank you, teacher. Luo Xia gathered his things, left his paper on the desk, pulled out his chair, and walked out of the room. The other students registered his departure with a brief, astonished look before returning to their own exams. They had no time to spare on other people's affairs. From his window in the adjacent room, Luo Feng happened to look up and saw Luo Xia stroll past. He paused, surprised. Luo Xia had already finished? Only 30 minutes in. This was fast, even for him. Luo Feng turned back to his own paper, a little unsettled by his younger brother's quick exit. A multiple-choice question still sat before him. After a few moments of thought, prompted perhaps by the sight of Luo Xia, he worked the problem out on scratch paper and selected option C. Outside the school, Luo Hongguo and Luo Hua shaded themselves as they waited for the exams to end. A ripple of surprise moved through the small crowd. "Someone's coming out!" someone called. They looked up and saw Luo Xia approaching in the sunlight, smiling faintly. Luo Hua's face brightened. "Third brother," he cried. Luo Hongguo felt a rush of pride and surprise. "Only half an hour?" he exclaimed. "Has he really finished already?" They watched him cross the courtyard, thinking the same thing. Finishing the science exam in 30 minutes seemed almost unbelievable. But there he was, walking toward them, calm as ever. Chapter 7. Luo Feng is in a coma. Luo Hongguo and Luo Hua came up to him as he walked out of the school and asked, "Xia, are you done with your exam?" Luo Xia looked at his father and his second brother, smiled faintly, and answered with quiet confidence, "Of course I am." "It's only been half an hour," Luo Hua protested. "The questions weren't hard," Luo Xia replied. Luo Hua had no words for that. A science exam wasn't supposed to be easy. Luo Hongguo laughed. "Since you're finished, rest up. We'll wait for your elder brother to finish, then we'll all go home together." Just as they moved toward the shade to wait, a female reporter and a cameraman approached. The woman smiled and said, "Hello, we're from Yangzhou City TV, here in Jiangnan Base City. We saw you coming out of the school. Are you one of this year's examinees? May we do a quick interview?" Luo Hongguo and Luo Hua turned to look. Luo Xia blinked, raised an eyebrow, and said, "Yes." The cameraman switched on the camera. The reporter faced the lens, delivered her opening line, then turned to him. "Student, are you taking the college entrance exam this year?" "I'm actually a second-year high school student, not in this year's graduating class," Luo Xia answered. "I'm taking the college entrance exam by skipping a grade." The reporter's eyes widened with interest. "You skipped a grade and are taking the exam now? We noticed you were the first to leave the exam hall, only 30 minutes or so. Was the science paper that simple?" Luo Xia smiled. "I thought it was simple, so I finished quickly." "Okay." The reporter hesitated, about to say something like, "We've met a genius," but she held back. Such a claim could be disastrous if he had just guessed the answers. Instead, she asked, "As the first student to walk out of Yan District First High's exam hall today, do you have any words for everyone?" Luo Xia glanced at the camera, and his mind flashed briefly to the monsters rampaging beyond the base city and to the disaster the golden horned beast would one day bring. He spoke slowly and clearly. "After the storm, there will be a rainbow. Let's all keep working hard." The reporter watched him for a moment, struck by the depth in his eyes. She smiled and said, "That's very inspiring. Thank you for the interview." Luo Xia waved to her, and he and his father and second brother waited. They stood at the gate for over an hour before the exam bell rang. A steady stream of students poured out, some ecstatic, some solemn, some close to tears. "Big brother," Luo Xia called, spotting Luo Feng in the crowd. He waved. Luo Feng saw them and pushed through, smiling. "You little rascal. You submitted in less than half an hour," he laughed. "You saw that?" Luo Xia rubbed his nose. "I glanced out while I was puzzling over a multiple-choice question and saw you walk by the window," Luo Feng said. "Let's talk at home. Aren't you all hungry?" Luo Hongguo held up his phone. "Your mother just called. Dinner's ready. Let's go." The three brothers nodded and followed their father. On the way home, Luo Feng and Luo Xia compared their answers. From their discussion, Luo Feng figured his science score should be above 200. June 8 was the liberal arts exam. Again, Luo Xia finished early and raised his hand. This time, because of the essays, he'd spent almost an hour writing. June 9th was math. Sitting at his desk as the invigilator handed out the papers, Luo Xia's thoughts drifted to the adjacent examination hall and to his elder brother. He muttered under his breath, "I wonder if Big Brother will faint again this time." When the paper was placed before him, he scanned it and began. He didn't need scrap paper. The moment he read a question, the process and the answer formed in his head. He wrote fast. The invigilator watched, eyelids twitching. For 3 days now, this boy had been the earliest to leave. Sure enough, before long, the familiar hand shot up. The invigilator walked over, glanced at the paper, and silently signaled that Luo Xia could leave. He packed up and slipped out of the room. As he closed the door behind him, a shout came from the next hall. "Quick! Call an ambulance! This examinee has fainted!" Luo Xia froze for a heartbeat, then sprinted down the corridor. When he pushed open the adjacent door, he saw his elder brother collapsed on the floor. "Big Brother!" he cried. Even though he believed Luo Feng would be fine, the sight of him unconscious set his heart racing. He slung Luo Feng over his shoulders and prepared to carry him out. The invigilator rushed over. "Student, you are. I'm his younger brother. Here's my ID." Luo Xia snapped, pulling the card from his pocket and holding it out without pausing. With his advanced warrior physical conditioning, Luo Xia's speed didn't suffer even while carrying another person. He moved like a gust of wind. By the time the invigilator recovered enough to think about returning the ID, Luo Xia had already reached the school gate. Luo Hongguo and Luo Hua were waiting there as before. When they saw Luo Xia running toward them with Luo Feng on his back, their faces went pale. "Xia, what happened to your elder brother?" their father demanded. "Big Brother fainted in the exam hall," Luo Xia said. "There's an ambulance nearby. Third brother, the on-site doctor is here. Help us get him onto the stretcher." Luo Hua barked. Examination sites always station medical personnel for emergencies like this. Together, Luo Xia and Luo Hua eased Luo Feng onto the stretcher. The ambulance doors closed, its siren wailing as it sped away from Yan District, first high toward the nearest hospital. Chapter 8. College Entrance Exam Results. What happened to me? At Yan District People's Hospital, Luo Feng blinked awake on the hospital bed and murmured. His mother, Gong Xinlan, who had been watching him the whole time, hurried to his side, eyes brimming with tears. "Luo Feng, are you all right? Do you feel any pain?" "Mom." Luo Feng squinted at her, then turned his head and saw his father, Luo Hongguo, and his brothers, second brother Luo Hua and third brother Luo Xia, standing at the foot of the bed. "Am I in the hospital?" He rubbed his head and tried to sit up. He couldn't remember much, but he felt clearer than before. His hearing seemed sharper. Voices in the corridor sounded distinct, like someone had turned up the volume on the world. "You fainted during the exam," Luo Xia said. "You passed out." Gong Xinlan and Luo Hongguo hovered, worried and hesitant, while Luo Feng looked at them and forced a smile. "Don't worry, Mom, Dad. I'll be fine. Maybe this was a blessing in disguise." They stared at him, unsure what he meant. Luo Feng explained, "You both know I've had that headache since I was a kid. I've fainted twice before, and each time my constitution improved afterwards." He hesitated, then continued, "It feels like the same this time. My body is stronger. My punching power was always a bit weak before, but now I think I can take the quasi-warrior evaluation." He looked at his family, smiling. "If I pass, I can become a martial artist. Then third brother and I can both join the dojo of limits." Hearing this, Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan brightened, and even Luo Hua grinned. In this era, being a martial artist carried immense prestige, far more than going to any military academy. It explained why they hadn't pushed too hard when Luo Xia said he might skip university. Not long after, the family walked out of the hospital together. From a distance, someone shouted their name. Luo Feng! Luo Feng! Wei Wen, Luo Feng's good friend who'd heard he'd fainted during the exam, had rushed over after finishing his own test. He came running up, out of breath. Are you okay? I'm fine, Luo Feng said, touching his head. This headache's an old problem. I didn't expect it to act up during the college entrance exam. Wei Wen clapped his shoulder. Even if it didn't go well this time, there's always next year. We're still young. Luo Feng smiled and then asked, by the way, what did you think of the last 3 calculation problems on the math paper? He hadn't asked Luo Xia because his brother was so brilliant that whatever the paper's difficulty, it wouldn't be a reliable gauge. Wei Wen answered, they were really tough this year. 5 calculation problems, only the 3rd was a bit easier. The other 4 were hard. A quiet relief passed through Luo Feng. He had only failed to solve the last 3. If most people couldn't either, he might still have hope. After the college entrance exam, candidates could start checking their scores at 8 p.m. on June 16th, by phone, online, or other channels. That evening, after dinner, the Luo family sat in the living room. Everyone was there except Luo Feng. He'd gone back to his room. Is he all right? Luo Hua asked. He's got a strong mindset, Luo Xia replied. A setback like this won't break him. Luo Hongguo nodded. Let's check the scores. Let's look up Luo Feng's first, then Luo Xia's. Luo Hua opened his laptop and entered the exam numbers for both brothers. A moment later, the results and the undergraduate admission line popped up on the screen. Luo Hua's expression wavered. He hesitated, then turned the laptop toward his parents. Gong Xinlan and Luo Hongguo leaned forward. The screen read, Luo Feng, Liberal Arts, 216, Science, 223, Mathematics, 118, total, 557. The total looked high, but the undergraduate admission line that year was 561. Luo Feng had missed it by 4 points. Gong Xinlan exchanged a helpless look with her husband. Just 4 points, she whispered. Luo Hongguo swallowed and said, check third brother's scores. Luo Hua typed quickly. The next page made him stare. He turned the screen toward the others in astonishment. Luo Xia Liberal Arts, 245. Science, 250. Mathematics, 250. Total, 745. Wonderful. Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan cheered. Their joy was immediate, but a shadow of sympathy lay over it. Luo Feng had come so close. If Luo Feng hadn't had that headache, he might have cleared the line too, Gong Xinlan said with a sigh. Downstairs, footsteps came from the stairs. Luo Feng appeared, smiling, and walked over to Luo Xia. 745? That's amazing. That should be the top score, right? Luo Xia chuckled. I actually thought I might get a perfect 750. 745 is already incredible, Luo Feng said, rolling his eyes. Perfect scores in liberal arts are rare. Your essay probably lost 5 points. Luo Hongguo watched his eldest son and felt a quiet relief that Luo Feng seemed genuinely okay. He turned to Luo Xia. With a score like that, won't you feel sorry to skip university? Luo Xia laughed. No regret. From 16 to 30 is the prime age for a martial artist to grow stronger. Going to university now would be a real waste. Luo Hongguo only smiled. If your grandparents were alive to see this, our family producing a top scorer, they'd be so proud. The next morning at 5, Luo Xia and Luo Feng rose and headed for the dojo of limits. Because of his fainting spell, Luo Feng needed to take the martial artist dojo's test to evaluate his constitution. Luo Xia, too, wanted to update his own status. If he was about to jump to Advanced Warrior, the dojo might want to study him. Chapter 9. Youngest Warrior. When the two brothers arrived at the dojo of limits that morning, the place was nearly empty. Only a few hundred trainees were scattered across the martial hall's lawn, practicing their forms. It's busier at night, Luo Xia remarked. Luo Feng smiled. The instructors teach in the evenings. Of course, more people come then. They chatted as they walked toward the senior trainee teaching building. Suddenly, a low, throaty growl cut through the morning air. Both brothers turned to see a white luxury sports car gliding slowly into the martial hall. Luo Feng inhaled the cold air and gave a small whistle. That's an Aston Martin, the new THR-191 model. It's got flight capability. Luo Xia wasn't much of a car person, but his ears pricked when a trainee nearby muttered, That car goes for 36 million yuan. 36 million. Luo Xia repeated under his breath as the car pulled up in front of the teaching building. A man with fiery short red hair stepped out, dressed in loose martial attire. He scanned the yard with a casual but sharp air. When his gaze passed over Luo Feng and Luo Xia, it flickered with interest for a moment before he arched an eyebrow and walked straight into the building. Luo Feng's eyes brightened. That one looks like a martial artist. The way he looked at us, calm, like he's faced a lot of monsters. We've never seen him around the hall, Luo Xia said, puzzled. What's he doing here? Who knows? Luo Feng answered with a shrug. He set the red-haired man aside and motioned toward the building. Come on, let's go inside. They took the stairs up to the training hall on the 3rd floor. Luo Feng rushed to the punching power tester and after a few warm-ups, slammed his fist into the target. The machine registered with a solid click. Big brother, how much? Luo Xia asked. Luo Feng checked the screen, grinning. 1,237 kilograms. 1,237? Luo Xia smiled, impressed. I didn't expect your strength to jump that much after your coma. You've broken the 1,000-kilo mark. Third brother, help me turn on the speed tester, Luo Feng said. I want to check my speed. Okay. Luo Xia walked over to the track controls and switched the speed tester on. Luo Feng stepped onto the lane, drew a deep breath, and shot down the track like a gust of wind. Just then, 2 men came down the stairs from the 4th floor into the hall. One was the red-haired man from earlier. The other was Jiang Nian, the head instructor of the dojo of limits in Yi'an District. They paused at the sight of Luo Feng streaking past. What's my speed this time? Luo Feng called as he skidded to a stop at the end of the lane, expecting to have gone much faster than before. He felt like he'd been flying. Luo Xia checked the display and blinked. 7 meters per second. The red-haired man glanced at Jiang Nian in surprise. 7 meters a second? That kid can run that fast? Jiang Nian laughed and nodded, pride plain on his face. You don't know him yet. This is Luo Feng. He's one of the most promising trainees in this intake, just turned 18. 18? The red-haired man's eyes lit up. So young? Jiang Nian beamed at him. Yes, and the other one is even younger. Noticing the instructors approaching, Luo Feng and Luo Xia immediately bowed. Instructor. As head of the dojo, Jiang Nian was entitled to that address. Come here, you two, Jiang Nian said. Training early this morning? Luo Feng scratched the back of his head. My fitness has improved recently, so we wanted to test it. Jiang Nian nodded. I heard your punch-up on the 3rd floor. How much power was that? 1,237 kilograms, Luo Feng replied. Jiang Nian stared for a moment, then laughed with genuine delight. You've broken 1,000? That's excellent work, Luo Feng. Brother Jiang, aren't you going to introduce me? The red-haired man said, interrupting with an expectant look. Jiang Nian grinned. Right, this is Yan Luo, my senior, a brother who's seen life and death with me. Luo Feng and Luo Xia greeted him politely. Yan Luo smiled. Don't be formal. I'm not much older. Call me Big Brother Yan if you like. Big Brother Yan, the 2 brothers echoed. By the way, Luo Xia, have you tested your punching power and speed? Jiang Nian asked. Luo Xia shook his head. Not yet. Jiang Nian glanced toward Yan Luo, then smiled at Luo Xia. Let's see it. It's a good chance to watch. Luo Xia walked to the punching machine, set his stance, drew a solemn breath, and struck the target with concentrated force. The machine sounded, and the display lit up. 1,361 kilograms. The number caught everyone's attention. Yan Luo gaped. 1,361 kilograms. That's over 100 kilograms more than Luo Feng. He stared at Luo Xia. Wait, you're Luo Feng's brother? How old are you? Before Luo Xia could answer, Jiang Nian burst into laughter. You'll never guess how old he is. Yan Luo turned to Jiang Nian, incredulous. He can't be 16, can he? Jiang Nian nodded, still smiling. You're right, Luo Xia is only 16. What? Yan Luo's eyes widened. I know it's unbelievable, Jiang Nian said, patting Yan Luo on the shoulder. He only joined the martial hall this year. 2 months in, he earned the title of senior trainee, and now his strength is already enough to take the quasi-warrior assessment. Yan Luo blinked at Luo Xia again. Such explosive talent. What are kids these days eating to grow so strong? 16 years old and already at assessment level. If he passes, he could become the youngest martial artist in history. Under Jiang Nian and Yan Luo's watchful eyes, Luo Xia tested his speed again. Even while deliberately suppressing himself, he managed 35 meters per second. That alone was astonishing. An intermediate warrior's standard speed was only 40 meters per second. Yan Luo stared at him, speechless. Luo Xia's physical ability and talent were simply beyond expectation. "Brother Zhang," Yan Luo said, turning to Zhang Nian, "aren't you going to recruit geniuses like Luo Feng and Luo Xia into the dojo?" He didn't mean merely accepting them as students. He meant signing them on as martial artists of the dojo of limits. Zhang Nian smiled. "I've been planning that for a long time." He looked at the two brothers. "Luo Feng, Luo Xia, how would you like to join the dojo of limits once you officially become martial artists?" He paused, then added, "If you sign with us, we'll arrange. No, I'll give you 2 of the best properties in the area." Zhang Nian held up 2 fingers. 2 detached villas in prime locations. On top of that, you'll get a monthly base salary of 20,000 yuan. 2 villas? Luo Feng's breath caught. The salary was decent, but the villas, that was luxury, security. The dojo of limits was actually offering them 2 houses. He couldn't help sneaking a look at his younger brother. Zhang Nian continued, "Joining the dojo of limits is not much different from joining a special national department. You'll have money, status, everything you need. You can freely pursue the limits of the human body and the martial Tao." He gestured at Yan Luo beside him. "Your brother Yan just hunted a monster recently and earned nearly 100 million Earth coins. That's over 300 million yuan. Both of you have exceptional talent. I'm confident you'll reach Yan Luo's realm someday." The offer was intoxicating. Luo Feng felt a surge of ambition. He silently vowed to catch up to people like Hong and Thunder God. Zhang Nian then changed the subject. "By the way, did you both take this year's college entrance exam?" "Xiao Xia, I remember, even took it a year early." Both brothers nodded. Yan Luo, curious, asked from the side, "Are you both planning to go to college?" They both shook their heads. Luo Feng forced a bitter smile. "I fainted during the exam. My math score suffered, and my total was a few points below the undergraduate cutoff. I can't go to college." Yan Luo patted his shoulder. "With your talent, going to college might actually be a waste. The prime years for martial artists are between 16 and 30. It might be better this way. You can train hard and prepare for the quasi-warrior assessment at the Yangzhou Limit Hall on July 1st. Zhang Nian glanced at Luo Xia. "And what about you, Xiao Xia? What was your score? What are your plans?" Luo Xia grinned. "I scored 745, but I'm not going to college either. I'll take the quasi-warrior assessment with my eldest brother." Both instructors were stunned. A 745 was an astronomical score. Hearing that he wasn't going to college stirred mixed feelings. Regret that such academic talent would be wasted, and relief that it wouldn't be wasted on the martial Tao. Someone with that level of all-around talent could become a war god. Yan Luo couldn't help exclaiming, "You really are a prodigy." Zhang Nian smiled. "The Limit Hall holds a quasi-warrior assessment on the 1st of every month. There's still over half a month before July 1st. Train hard and be ready." June 28th. The morning was clear and breezy. Luo Feng and Wei Wen walked toward Yi'an District 3rd High School to collect graduation certificates and college application forms. "Where's Xiao Xia?" Wei Wen asked. Luo Feng shook his head with a small smile. He didn't want the trouble. Wei Wen's brow furrowed. "Trouble? He got a 745. He's a national top scorer. Reporters must love that. Isn't publicity a good thing?" "Good thing, my foot," Luo Feng said with a wry laugh. "You don't know. Those reporters practically tore our front door down." Wei Wen's eyes widened. "So he's afraid of the reporters showing up at school?" "Reporters are part of it," Luo Feng said. "There've even been university professors showing up. They somehow found out he doesn't plan to go to university and have been trying to persuade him to reconsider." "The professors?" Wei Wen was incredulous. "Yeah. A few days ago, the principal and his homeroom teacher came to our house with gifts, begging him to go to college. They said it'd be a waste not to, after scoring so highly." Wei Wen muttered, "Looks like scoring too well has its downsides." By the time they reached the school, the news had already spread. "Luo Feng," a cluster of students called as soon as he walked in. "I saw on TV your brother scored 745. Is that true? It's all over the news." "How could it be false?" another shouted. "Does he really not want to go to college? Why take the exam then? Surrounded, Luo Feng felt like an exhibit every time someone mentioned his brother. Wei Wen was shoved aside by the crowd and watched as his friend was peppered with questions. Good thing Xiao Xia didn't come, he murmured with a grim smile. Otherwise, the scene would have been even worse. Using his warrior-level agility, Luo Feng slipped through the students and sprinted to his classroom. As he entered, everyone fell silent and turned to look at him. He walked to his desk without expression. "Your brother didn't come today?" his deskmate asked quietly. "No," Luo Feng said. "Is it true he's not going to college? 745? That's a top national score." "He's going to take the quasi-warrior assessment with me," Luo Feng answered. Silence rippled through the room. Becoming a martial artist was the highest status in society today. If that was really their plan, college would be irrelevant. Under a mix of incredulous, envious, and resentful stares, Luo Feng collected his own graduation certificate and the college application form. He looked at the application form in his hand and said to himself, "This is useless." He tore it up, tossed it in the trash, and then, to the astonishment of his classmates, went to the principal's office to pick up his younger brother's graduation certificate. Chapter 11. Qualified Warrior Assessment, I. July 1st, early morning. Luo Xia and his elder brother Luo Feng left home and took Metro Line 11 to Zhong'an Road Station, then transferred to Line 1. They arrived in the central district of Yangzhou and walked another 10 minutes to reach their destination, the Limit Hall, the Yangzhou headquarters of the Dojo of Limits, tucked inside the Mingyue community. They had left just after 6, but by the time they reached the community gate, it was already 8. Standing before the quiet, well-kept entrance, Luo Feng breathed. "So this is the famous Mingyue community." "The guards are armed," Luo Xia murmured, watching the sentries. "That's to be expected," Luo Feng replied. "Residents here are mostly martial artists' families. Security has to be tight. Come on." As they approached, a soldier stepped forward and warned them, "Please stay behind the yellow line. If you cross it, we have the right to shoot." Luo Feng stepped up and introduced them. "Sir, my name is Luo Feng. This is my younger brother, Luo Xia. We're senior trainees at the Dojo of Limits. We're here for the Qualified Warrior Assessment." An older man with white hair came out from a guard room, holding a handheld scanner. He tapped their ID cards and trainee certificates, and their information appeared on the screen. He looked up and, surprised, addressed Luo Xia. "You're only 16? The remark drew a few astonished glances from the other guards. 16, and you're taking the Qualified Warrior Assessment?" the old man asked incredulously. Luo Xia blinked. "Is there an age limit?" "None," the old man said quickly. "As long as you meet the physical requirements, anyone can take it. It's just..." He studied Luo Xia with a warm smile. "I've been posted at this gate for half my life, and I've never seen anyone this young come for the assessment." He looked at Luo Feng next. 18, still very young. You two are impressive. I hope you both pass today." He handed their documents back. Luo Xia and Luo Feng bowed politely. The old man nodded, waved at the guards, and said, "Let them in." The gate opened, and an armed soldier led them through. "I'll escort you to the Limit Hall," he said sternly. "Do not wander the residential area. You may only enter the Limit Hall. If you break the rules, patrols won't hesitate." The brothers exchanged a glance and nodded. Inside the community, the villas were small, elegant estates with rock gardens, ponds, lawns, and flower beds, the kind of tranquil beauty that advertised privilege. At the center of the community loomed the Limit Hall. When the escort left them, Luo Xia stared up at the grand building. "It's twice the size of the dojo where we train," he said, awed. "It feels like a different world," Luo Feng agreed, and they stepped inside. In the lobby, a cheerful young woman greeted them. "Are you here for the Qualified Warrior Assessment?" she asked. "Yes," Luo Feng answered. "Please take a seat at the small lounge over there," she said, indicating a neat little bar area. "The assessment starts at 10. They moved to the lounge. 3 people were already seated, 2 talking quietly, another sitting alone. The newcomers glanced up and offered polite nods. Luo Xia grinned at his brother. "Want something to drink?" "No," Luo Feng said, patting his brother's shoulder. "Now's not the time." He closed his eyes and sat still, conserving his energy. Luo Xia relaxed into the sofa and took in the others. One young man in white looked close to their age, The rest were older, in their 30s or even 40s. More people filtered into the lounge, experienced trainees heading in for the same assessment. A familiar voice called out, "Luo Feng, Luo Xia." They turned to see Yang Wu, the scarred-faced man they knew, striding over. "You two here for the test too?" "Brother Yang." They stood and greeted him. Yang Wu clapped them both on the shoulder. "With the fitness you two showed at the last trial, you'll pass for sure. Keep it up." "You'll pass too," Luo Xia said with a smile. Yang Wu laughed. "Take that as luck. Last time I came up a little short on speed, otherwise I'd be a qualified warrior already." "Quiet down," a voice called from the center of the lobby. Everyone turned to see a middle-aged man in loose training clothes addressing the group. "Follow me upstairs. The qualified warrior assessment will begin shortly. Be disciplined once you're up there. The city's chief instructor has an old friend visiting today, so don't cause any trouble." They exchanged quick looks and, with the others, moved toward the stairs. From somewhere in the crowd, a man muttered, half to himself, about getting stung by a hornet that morning and how miserable it made him feel. An unexpected misfortune, he sighed. Then the group continued up toward the testing area. Chapter 12, Qualified Warrior Assessment 2. Yangzhou City had 1 limit hall and 12 limit dojos. The heads of each district's dojo were called instructors. The head of the limit hall was the chief instructor. Luo Xia and his group rode the elevator to the 6th floor. When the doors opened, they stepped into an enormous training hall. More than a dozen people, seasoned martial artists and dojo masters, were already assembled inside. "They're here. Enough chatter." A middle-aged man with long, flowing hair spoke, and every head turned toward the 9 newcomers. Luo Xia felt a tightening in his chest. These people were veterans, fighters who had seen life-and-death battles. "Prepare for the test," the man ordered. Luo Xia recognized him from online. This was Wu Tong, chief instructor of Yangzhou City's limit hall. "One by one, come forward and hand me your ID cards," Wu Tong instructed. The martial artist who had brought them up collected the cards and presented them with a smile. "Boss, quite a few people showed up for assessment today. 9 in total." Wu Tong nodded, his gaze lingering on Luo Xia and Luo Feng. Zhang Nian had already sent him their profiles. Both were listed as 16-year-old quasi-warriors, a rarity. Even veteran gatekeepers rarely saw candidates that young. Wu Tong himself had never witnessed one in person. He tapped an ID on a nearby scanner. The device beeped, and a translucent screen displayed the information. First, Dongguan. Wu Tong looked at the burly, bearded man among them. "Proceed with the strength test. Interesting that someone from the military is coming to our dojo for assessment." Dongguan grinned and stepped to the strength testing machine. He inhaled, struck the punching bag, and it shuddered. The readout blinked, 986 kilograms. "Pass," Wu Tong announced. He scanned the next card. Luo Feng. He glanced at Zhang Nian. "This, the Luo Feng you mentioned? He looks promising. Hope you weren't exaggerating." Zhang Nian laughed. "Me, exaggerate?" A chubby instructor from Beiyou District chimed in teasingly. "You always brag when you drink. Maybe this kid's just out to broaden his horizons." "Jealous?" Zhang Nian shot back with a smile. "You don't have young talents like ours in Beiyou. Luo Feng, show them what our Yan District's trainees can do." Luo Feng stepped forward and said confidently, "Yes, instructor." Everyone watched. He tightened his stance, delivered a solid punch. Bang! The screen read 311 kilograms. "Good, not bad," murmured the assembly, impressed. Only the Beiyou instructor wore a sour expression. Wu Tong nodded approvingly. "Not bad, Zhang Nian. You weren't lying." One by one, the other candidates tested their punching power. 8 results came back acceptable, only 1 failed. Luo Feng rejoined the line and grinned at his younger brother. "Only you left, Xia." At that moment, Wu Tong's eyes found Luo Xia. "Last one, Luo Xia." He scanned Luo Xia's card. The others' faces shifted into surprise when they saw his age. 16. 16, someone asked incredulously. "That's 2 years younger than Luo Feng." "Is that a joke? Only 16 and taking the assessment? Can he really make it?" another wondered. "Also from Yan District? Don't tell me he's as strong as Luo Feng." Zhang Nian watched the reactions with a proud smile. He'd been telling people about Luo Xia for a reason. This boy was even stronger than his brother. Luo Xia stepped up to the punching machine, squared his shoulders, and took a breath. Then he struck. The machine beeped, 1422 kilograms. The room erupted. 1422 kilograms? At 16? What did he eat to grow like that? Dojo masters exchanged stunned looks and hurried whispers. A few of them, already eyeing the two brothers, began jockeying softly. Give us one of them, either Luo Feng or Luo Xia. Make a deal, just Luo Xia, another added. Zhang Nian bristled. Why should I give them away? They're trainees of Yan District. Both belong to our dojo. Wu Tong regarded Luo Xia with clear admiration. He, too, had been surprised. Expecting Luo Xia to be close to Luo Feng's level, he hadn't imagined a full 100-kilogram gap, especially from someone 2 years younger. He raised a hand to quiet the argument. All right, stop arguing. Next is the speed test. Reverse order. First up, Luo Xia. Wu Tong stepped to the side, activated the speed testing device, and motioned. Luo Xia took his position on the track. For a heartbeat, he was completely focused. Then he exploded forward like a gust of wind. He was gone in a flash. When the readout settled, Wu Tong announced, 3 meters per second. The assembled instructors were once again taken aback. That speed was well beyond the standard for the Quasi-Warrior Assessment. Chapter 13, Qualified Warrior Assessment 3. After Luo Xia finished the speed test, the next candidate was Yang Wu. He looked nervous. This wasn't his first time taking the martial artist assessment, and each previous attempt he'd failed the speed portion. Luo Feng clapped a steady hand on his shoulder. Come on, Brother Yang. You can do it. Yang Wu inhaled deeply, nodded, and stepped onto the track. He exploded forward like a charging tiger, face contorted and veins throbbing. Don't imagine the tests were easy even for Luo Xia and the others. These quasi-warrior standards were almost impossible for ordinary people to reach. The screen registered the result. 1 meter per second, Wu Tong announced. Yang Wu exhaled and let a relieved smile cross his face at the end of the track. That was close, he muttered. 2 of the next candidates failed and were eliminated. Then it was Luo Feng's turn. Big brother, go! Luo Xia called. Luo Feng walked on with a calm, confident air. He'd already done these tests at the Martial Artist Hall in Yan District and knew what to expect. He ran like a wind gust. The scoreboard blinked, and Wu Tong nodded in approval. 6 meters per second. Very good. Luo Xia gave him a thumbs up. Luo Feng smiled and returned to their group. After the punching power and speed tests came the neural reaction assessment. Both Luo Xia and Luo Feng had taken this at the Yan District Hall as well. Luo Xia could score perfect if he unleashed his full strength, but now he intended to hold back and perform only with the physical qualities of an elementary warrior. The neural test was tough. Led by Chief Instructor Wu Tong, the group entered the neural reaction test room. It was a spacious chamber, about 100 square meters, with a tall, expensive-looking machine at its center. At the front of the device, dozens of gun barrels glowed like a Gatling gun. First, Dongguan, Wu Tong called. The bearded man stepped forward and took his place inside a marked circle 3.5 meters across. Wu Tong flipped a switch. A hazy red light rose from the circle's edge, creating a gauze-like barrier. Remember, do not leave the circle. If you step out, you fail. If your body touches the red light, you lose points. He adjusted the machine. The neural reaction test had several intensity levels, the lowest for intermediate assessments, the highest used by veteran martial artists for training. Begin. A red button clicked. The Gatling head spun. Beams of red light flashed out of the barrels with chaotic trajectories, some fast, some slow, none predictable. Rubber pellets followed in their wake. Dongguan's weakness was obvious: agility. In less than 10 seconds, he had been struck numerous times. After a full minute, Wu Tong cut the machine and read the results. In 60 seconds, hit 57 times, touched the red light 3 times, failed, eliminated. He tossed Dongguan's ID card back. Dongguan snatched it, face sour. So close, he muttered, and stepped out of the circle. Next, Luo Feng. Luo Feng entered with steady composure. When the test ended, Wu Tong looked pleased. 60 seconds, hit 28 times, did not touch the red light. Excellent. Wu Tong turned to Luo Feng. Well done. Once the official certificate is issued and your information is entered into the citizen registry, you'll be a quasi-warrior. Luo Feng high-fived Luo Xia, grinning. Finally. Congratulations, big brother, Luo Xia replied, genuinely happy. Candidates rotated through the test until Luo Xia was last. He took a steadying breath and stepped into the circle. If he had given the test everything, Luo Xia could have handled even the advanced warrior level perfectly. He'd proven that before. But today, he deliberately limited himself to elementary warrior physical output. A silver-haired man in a black robe, who had been standing among the instructors, watched him intently. His eyes had an odd, star-flecked quality. In his spiritual sense, there was something unusual about the boy. Start. The barrels accelerated to an extreme speed. Beams of red light and rubber rounds came at Luo Xia from unpredictable arcs. He moved with the easy grace of someone who had trained his body and reflexes to the point of instinct. He dodged and weaved, feet landing precisely where they needed to, no wasted motion, always leaving just enough space to avoid the next incoming round. The dozen or so instructors watching were visibly astonished. This kid's reaction time is incredible. He hasn't been hit once so far. His footwork is outstanding. There's no wasted movement when he dodges. The spaces he leaves are perfect, enough to attack or retreat. Against a real opponent, that would be dangerous. I didn't expect the youngest tester to have the best technique. The minute finished. Wu Tong glanced at the screen, a flicker of surprise crossing his face, then looked at Luo Xia and announced the result with a satisfied smile. 60 seconds, hit 10 times, did not touch the red light. Optimal. Wu Tong's expression warmed. Luo Xia, that was exceptional. I've never seen someone your age perform with such results in this assessment. The other instructors nodded in agreement, impressed. They began to exchange quiet comments about the boy's future prospects. At 16 and showing this level of ability, if he keeps progressing, he could reach the level of a god of war. Luo Xia only smiled and stepped out of the circle, keeping his true strength tucked away for now. The room buzzed with a mixture of admiration and curiosity. This young talent had captured their attention. After the nerve reaction test finished, the quasi-warrior assessment came to an end as well. Of the 9 who had taken it, only 4 passed. Luo Feng, Luo Xia, Yang Wu, and a young man named Bai Yang, the same white-clad stranger Luo Feng and Luo Xia had seen at the bar earlier. After the assessment, there are the formalities, like signing the combat trial contract. The rest will be handled by your original instructors, Chief Instructor Wu Tong said with a smile. He turned to a silver-haired man in a black robe who had been standing off to the side. Captain, sorry to have kept you waiting. Let's go. Captain? Luo Feng and the others stared. Wu Tong was the head of the dojo of limits in Yangzhou City, a figure of great rank. And this silver-haired man, his captain? What shocked them even more was that, from the moment they had entered the training hall until now, none of them had noticed the man at all. It was as if he hadn't existed. The idea was chilling. If someone could be so unnoticed that their presence erased itself from a person's awareness, a single look from that person in a fight could leave an opponent dazed and helpless before they even realized what hit them. Luo Xia hadn't been surprised. He'd felt the man's strong mental energy the moment he walked in and had simply kept a poker face. Now the silver-haired man looked directly at Luo Xia and the others. For an instant, Luo Xia's mind was flooded with a sense of endless depth, like staring into the vastness of a night sky. He froze, then snapped back to himself. Luo Feng beside him recovered a half-beat later, but Yang Wu and Bai Yang were still blank. When the black-robed man saw Luo Xia and Luo Feng come to themselves so quickly, he smiled in obvious approval. You two have good talent. Keep it up. Wu Tong clicked his tongue in satisfaction. Not only are your physical qualities strong, but your will is also solid. Very good. The instructors scurried to prepare the paperwork, and Wu Tong and the black-robed man left together. Only then did Yang Wu and Bai Yang blink and come back to their senses. What happened? I felt like I was dreaming, Yang Wu murmured, bewildered. Bai Yang shook his head. I was sleepwalking. No, like I was being pulled away. They exchanged looks and broke out in a cold sweat, remembering the blankness. Luo Feng whispered to Luo Xia, I can't even recall his face now, only his eyes. A sharp light flashed in Luo Xia's expression. That black-robed man was probably a psyker master, he said. A psyker master? Luo Feng echoed, startled. Psyker masters were a rare and feared existence among martial artists, those with overwhelming mental power who could manipulate objects from a distance and launch attacks of pure mind. One might not find a single psyker master among 10,000 fighters. And Luo Xia knew, from more than one odd incident when he was little, that he himself might have the seed of that power. He remembered once making a pacifier lift from across a room without touching it. Luo Xia put a finger to his lips to hush Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded once and watched as Jiang Nian and the other instructors approached with a stack of contracts. "Follow us to the training hall," one of them said. They filed out, and a North Post District instructor produced 4 forms. "This is the martial artist combat trial application contract," he announced. "If you take part in the combat trial and are killed by monsters, the Dojo of Limits bears no responsibility." "We should note the death rate is low," another instructor added, "but the injury rate is high." A bald, heavily muscled instructor spoke in a low voice as he briefed them. "You'll face monsters during the assessment, low-rank ones, but this is nothing compared to the real hunting grounds. If you can't pass this, don't become a martial artist." The brothers glanced at each other. The contract was blunt. Participation carried real risk. Still, Luo Feng set his pen down first. "Sign it," he told Luo Xia. They both signed without hesitation. Yang Wu and Bai Yang followed suit. Their desire to become martial artists outweighed the fear. Jiang Nian smiled when he saw the signatures. "Good. Today's July 1. The combat trial is a month away. Use this month well. Oh, and one more thing." He tapped a nearby keyboard. A huge translucent screen bloomed across the training hall wall. An article filled the display. Gene Energy Cultivation Method, also known as 5 Hearts Towards the Sky Cultivation Method. When the Great Nirvana era began, the RR virus swept humanity and triggered antibody responses that altered and optimized people's genes, Jiang Nian read aloud. When genes reach a certain level of optimization, they can draw threads of energy from the universe and weave them into every cell. He continued, pointing to the text. Through that process, gene optimization, bones, cells, blood, internal organs, skin, everything evolves. Your bones can become tens or even hundreds of times harder than diamonds. Your organs can become resilient enough to hold your breath underwater for half an hour or longer. It all depends on absorbing cosmic energy, integrating it into your cells. That's gene energy. Jiang Nian tapped the heading. This is the 5 Hearts Towards the Sky Cultivation Method for Gene Energy. Luo Xia read the projection carefully. The 5 Hearts method had been published worldwide to uncover talent. Its simplicity made it the basic route into gene energy cultivation. But basic didn't mean easy. Only those who had reached quasi-warrior level in physical fitness could even begin. Above the 5 Hearts were more advanced guiding techniques, guarded secrets held by factions and dojos, available only to those who could pay for them. Luo Xia had seen the 5 Hearts method online long ago. He'd even understood an advanced guiding technique from it, but he'd never trained in the method itself. Instead, he'd been cultivating with the forging body technique to build a solid foundation. If you want to raise a skyscraper, he thought, you must first lay a foundation strong enough to hold it. He was convinced that after strengthening his base with the forging body technique, taking up the 5 Hearts method would deliver a major leap forward. Chapter 15. Begin to practice. After getting hold of the 5 Hearts Towards the Sky cultivation method, there wasn't much left to do. Instructor Jiang Nian addressed Luo Xia and the others. "All right, today's quasi-warrior evaluation is over. The 4 of you can go home. Your quasi-warrior certificates still need to be stamped by headquarters and your citizen information entered. That will take a few days. You'll be notified when they're ready. You may leave." "Yes, instructor." Luo Xia and the other 4 thanked the instructor and left the training hall together, watched by armed guards stationed outside the limit hall as they exited the community. Afterwards, the 5 who had passed went to eat in the commercial district by Mingyue community, partly to celebrate, partly to make friends, then went their separate ways. On the subway home, Luo Xia chatted with his eldest brother, Luo Feng. Both were in high spirits now that the quasi-warrior exam was behind them and the future as warriors seemed imminent. "I didn't expect Bai Yang to be from Jiangnan First Military Academy," Luo Xia said. Luo Feng smiled. "Yeah, too bad my score fell a few points short, otherwise I might have been his schoolmate." Bai Yang said that even in the Academy's elite class, only a handful become true martial artists, Luo Xia added. Luo Feng sighed. There are too few martial artists, and yet they're the crucial force against the monsters. That's why they're so respected in our age. They reached home quickly. Since both Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan no longer needed to work outside, the parents were at home waiting for them. Luo Hua, the second brother, was also home for summer break. "Dad, Mom, second brother, we're back," Luo Feng called as he pushed the door open, grinning. Hearing the voices, Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan turned. Luo Hua sprang up and asked eagerly, "Big brother, third brother, how did the quasi-warrior evaluation go?" Luo Xia and Luo Feng exchanged looks and smiled. Luo Feng spoke up. "Dad, Mom, both Xiao Xia and I passed the quasi-warrior exam." "Really?" Gong Xinlan's eyes filled with tears at the news. Luo Xia stepped forward and put an arm around his mother's shoulders, beaming. "Really? In a few days our certificates will arrive." "That's wonderful. That's fantastic." Luo Hongguo laughed, almost unable to contain his pride. "Xinlan, go buy some groceries. We'll celebrate properly tonight." I will. Gong Xinlan replied, visibly excited. She paused and asked the sons, "Xiao Feng, Xiao Xia, have you eaten? If not, I'll make you noodles now and cook after I come back with the groceries." "We ate together when we left the limit hall," Luo Xia answered. "We're not hungry right now." "All right, I'll go buy them then," Gong Xinlan said, grabbing a basket. Luo Hongguo took it from her, and the two of them left the house, laughing. Luo Xia turned to Luo Hua. "Second brother, big brother and I are going to cultivate in our rooms. We'll come down when dinner's ready." "Okay, you two go ahead," Luo Hua replied. Luo Xia and Luo Feng each went back to their own rooms. Having just acquired the 5 hearts towards the sky method, they were eager to start. Though the 5 hearts is one of the most basic cultivation techniques, beginning isn't always straightforward. Some people sense the universe's energy right away and start cultivating the same day. Others need 10 days, half a month, or even months. Talent and aptitude make a big difference. Forging body technique isn't really a cultivation method, Luo Xia muttered to himself as he closed his door. It's body training. Its ceiling is probably advanced warrior, but it did give me a rock-solid foundation. Now it's time to cultivate the 5 hearts. He wondered if, after absorbing gene energy, his strength might break through directly to the warrior general level. That would be difficult. Junior warrior general punching power requires 8,000 kilograms, and Luo Xia's last test had shown only a little over 4,000 kilograms. He sat cross-legged on the carpet, Baihui point facing upward, palms and soles directed toward the sky, and began to practice. The first and most crucial step in cultivating gene energy is sensing the universe's energy. That energy is everywhere, in the ground beneath your feet and in the distant stars, but most people can't perceive it. When he nearly calmed his mind completely, Luo Xia felt it, the omnipresent energy flowing around him. He began to draw it into himself. Threads of qi streamed through the soles of his feet, into his palms, and up through his baihui. They surged into his body like a river spilling into the sea. Boom, boom. The whole room trembled. Luo Xia's 5 hearts glowed, an unusual sight caused by an overabundance of energy. If instructors like Wu Tong had been watching, they would have been dumbfounded. Few people ever absorbed so much universe energy during their very first practice of the 5 hearts method. It was astonishing. A deep trembling started in his marrow and made his body shiver. Once the invisible, colorless energy entered, every thirsty cell ravenously took it in. Minutes ticked by, and Luo Xia's body began to change. Skin, muscle, and bone subtly shifted. Even the deeper cells and genes underwent alterations. It was an evolution of life, a genetic refinement. At the same time, something else unsealed. The mental energy that had only barely awakened in his childhood, enough for rudimentary telekinesis, allowing him to control up to 10 objects at once, began to open further as universe energy fed it. When he was younger, his body couldn't handle a fuller awakening, so his mental energy remained only partially developed. Luo Xia estimated that for a complete mental energy awakening, his physical strength would probably need to reach Junior Warrior General or even Intermediate War General first. Thump, thump, thump. He lost track of time, absorbed in the practice. Then there was a knock at the door. He came out of his cultivation and, noticing the saturation in his cells, got up to open it. Luo Feng stood there, relief on his face. "Xiao Xia, did you sense the universe energy?" "It's already past 8. Luo Xia froze. Past 8? They'd come back around 3 in the afternoon. He'd been cultivating for over 5 hours straight on his very first session. The thought made his heart race. Chapter 16. Luo Feng awakens. Big brother, did you sense the universe energy? Luo Xia asked as they walked down the stairs together. Luo Feng gave a wry smile and shook his head. I've been trying all afternoon, but I still can't sense it. You, though, you felt it right away. That's my younger brother for you. Luo Xia scratched his head. He couldn't help Luo Feng with this. Sensing universe energy was a mysterious thing tied to aptitude and talent, not something you could teach by sharing experience. Don't worry, big brother. You'll be able to sense it. I know you will. Luo Feng nodded. I heard the instructor say that after the first gene energy cultivation, one's physical strength improves a lot. How do you feel? Great. Luo Xia closed his eyes for a moment, thinking. He estimated that the changes to his body from cultivating gene energy had already put his physical fitness close to a junior warrior general. There's a powerful force in my body now. One punch should be able to reach 5,000 to 6,000 kilograms, right? Luo Feng's eyes widened. 5,000 to 6,000? That's beyond the punch force of an advanced warrior. An advanced warrior's standard strike was about 4,000 kilograms. We'll know the real figure after we test, Luo Xia said. The numbers he'd given were conservative. He suspected his current punch might actually exceed 7,000 kilograms, putting him within striking distance of a junior warrior general. The first gene energy cultivation had made an enormous difference. When we tested you earlier, your punch was around 1,400 kilograms, Luo Feng said with a note of excitement. To jump from that to 5,000 or 6,000, that's a colossal improvement. Luo Xia grinned. Big brother, don't forget, your younger brother is a genius. Luo Feng laughed and nudged him. Yes, a prodigy even more talented than me. They reached the first-floor living room. Luo Hongguo and Luo Hua were watching TV on the sofa while their mother, Gong Xinlan, busied herself in the kitchen. Because Luo Xia had explained to the family that afternoon, everyone knew the two boys had been cultivating in their rooms, so no one had disturbed them. Seeing both brothers now, Luo Hongguo smiled. Xiaofeng, Xiao Xia, done cultivating? Yes. Luo Xia asked. Has Mom made dinner yet? Hungry? Luo Hongguo chuckled. Your mother had all the ingredients ready. She was just waiting for you two to come down. It's being cooked now. Should be ready soon. Dinner was a feast. Fish and meat spread across the table. Luo Hongguo raised his glass. Let's toast to Xiaofeng and Xiao Xia passing the quasi-warrior assessment. Cheers, they all said. Luo Feng and their father sipped wine. Luo Xia and Luo Hua, too young for alcohol, drank soft drinks with their mother. As they ate and laughed together, Luo Xia felt a warm, familiar happiness. He had been transmigrated into this life 16 years ago, and though he retained memories of his previous existence, over time he had become part of this family. He remembered his parents' endless hard work, Luo Hongguo running himself ragged, coming home filthy and exhausted, and Gong Xinlan sacrificing sleep to care for the children and take on odd jobs when needed. Only after the children grew a little and began to help did things ease. In the original story, Luo Feng would have been jailed around this time, a consequence tied to their father. Without Luo Xia, Luo Hongguo would still have gone out to work and been framed by Zhang Haobai. Luo Feng, returning with the good news that he'd passed the quasi-warrior assessment, would have witnessed his father's humiliation, beaten Zhang Haobai, and then been imprisoned. But because Luo Xia existed and had earned money early on, the family was comfortable enough that Luo Hongguo didn't have to go out to work, so that original sequence of events never happened. After dinner, the brothers helped clear the table and the family chatted in the living room for a while before everyone retired to their rooms. Luo Xia didn't continue cultivating. His cells had absorbed enough energy for now, and further cultivation would have no effect. It was a pity. The guiding technique he had comprehended was far more advanced than the 5 hearts towards the sky method. The guiding technique allowed a cultivator to absorb universe energy continuously, 24 hours a day, but it demanded an extremely high level of physical fitness. One had to reach the advanced warrior general standard before practicing it. For now, Luo Xia could only use the 5 hearts method. He lay down and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, he awoke, sensing a fluctuation of universe energy coming from Luo Feng's room. He listened for a moment, then, seeing no danger, lay back down. The next morning, Luo Feng came downstairs with a joyful expression. "Big brother, I felt it last night." "You sensed universe energy?" Luo Xia asked. "Yes," Luo Feng exclaimed. "I tried again last night, and it's odd, I drifted off, and in my dream I actually felt it. I could perceive the universe energy." "Congratulations, big brother," Luo Xia grinned. For the next few days, the two brothers devoted themselves entirely to cultivation. On the third day, their quasi-warrior certificates arrived. The family was ecstatic. But as everyone congratulated them, Luo Feng's expression suddenly changed, and he fainted. "Quick, Xiaohua, Xiaoxia, call the hospital." Luo Hongguo cried, panic-stricken as he held Luo Feng. Luo Hua fumbled for his phone and began dialing. Luo Xia crouched beside his older brother to check his condition. Using his mental energy perception, he saw something astonishing. Powerful mental energy was surging from Luo Feng's mind, spreading into every part of his body. Under that tide of mental energy, Luo Feng's bones, internal organs, blood, muscles, and skin were undergoing dramatic transformations, an intense physical evolution. Is this the kind of physical evolution that comes from a full mental energy awakening? Luo Xia whispered, his heart racing with excitement. Seeing what was happening to his brother only made him more eager to experience the changes that a complete awakening of his own mental energy would bring. Late at night in a private ward at Yan District People's Hospital, Luo Feng lay quietly on the bed. His two younger brothers, Luo Hua and Luo Xia, kept watch. Their parents, Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan, were elderly and not suited for a night shift, so the brothers had gently persuaded them to go home and rest. Luo Xia sat nearby, scrolling on his phone. Suddenly he froze. A wave of mental energy washed through the room, and everything not tied down began to float, as if gravity had been switched off. Luo Hua, who had been checking stock prices on a handheld computer, watched in disbelief as the device rose from his lap. "What the?" he breathed. Luo Xia glanced at Luo Feng on the bed. "Big brother?" Luo Feng, half asleep, opened his eyes. The objects he had unconsciously moved continued to hover. Chairs, the kettle, the bedside table, the handheld computer. He blinked, baffled for a moment, then looked at Luo Xia. "I didn't do it," Luo Xia said, spreading his hands innocently. "If you didn't do it, then who?" Only the three of them were in the ward, and only one of them had ever demonstrated mental power, until Luo Feng realized with a jolt it had to be him. A strange, unfamiliar force thrummed through him. He concentrated experimentally, and effortlessly, the suspended items obeyed. They floated higher, rotated, hovered like marionettes on invisible strings. "How? Am I controlling things?" Luo Feng whispered. Luo Xia's smile was soft. "Congratulations, big brother. You've awakened mental energy." Luo Feng frowned, thinking back over the years of headaches and the fainting spells that had plagued him. Were those symptoms tied to this? "So that's why I kept passing out." "That's usually what happens," Luo Xia agreed. "If your physical body can't support the mental energy, it causes headaches, dizziness, fainting." Luo Feng eased the floating objects back to their places, swung his legs off the bed, and stood. He felt a lightness in his head he hadn't known in years. "I feel clearer. My head's never felt this good." "How strong is it?" Luo Xia asked. Luo Feng considered, then decided to test it. He fixed his attention on the hospital bed. With a mere thought, the bed lifted. He turned his focus to the bedside table and the chairs. They rose in turn. A teapot, the handheld computer, everything not bolted down hovered. Apart from the three brothers, the entire room seemed to be defying gravity. Luo Hua gaped. "He's moving all of that, and doesn't even look tired." Luo Xia nodded toward the balcony railing outside the ward. "Try twisting the steel post off the railing." Luo Feng looked and concentrated. The end of one steel post began to rotate, creaking and groaning. With a shriek of twisted metal, it snapped free, flying up and forming into a pointed steel spike that hung in the air like an arrowhead. Before Luo Xia could say another word, Luo Feng sent the spike flying. It streaked down toward the courtyard below and struck a massive rock with crushing speed. The spike punched in, withdrew, and repeated, faster and faster. To the brothers' astonishment, a single spike seemed to multiply into a blur of afterimages, each one ramming into the rock again and again. In moments, the once solid boulder was riddled with holes like a sieve. Then came a deep, resonant boom. The 2-meter-wide rock exploded outward, shards and dust scattering. The steel spike that had done the damage was reduced to powder by the heat and friction of its violent work. "Who's making such a racket?" a voice called from an adjacent ward. "Who's not sleeping at this hour? Keep it down," another demanded. The three brothers glanced at one another, then quickly shut the ward door and pulled it closed. They exchanged looks full of disbelief and pride. "That rock was over 2 meters across," Luo Xia said, eyes wide. Big Brother turned a railing post into an armor-piercing round and blew it apart. That power! He stared at Luo Feng with new admiration. Luo Xia smiled proudly but soberly. That spike wasn't made from any special material. If it had been forged as a mental power weapon by a psyker master, it could probably punch through monster hide without blinking. Luo Hua's excitement turned to wonder. "I always thought you were the only one in the family with psyker talent, Xia. I never expected Big Brother to have it too." They all knew about Luo Xia and his psychic ability, but Luo Xia had hidden much of it and spoke little of psyker masters. Now Luo Feng's awakening showed them how forceful mental energy could be, far beyond what ordinary martial artists could achieve. Luo Feng looked at Luo Xia, puzzled. "Why was my awakening so rough? I had headaches and fainting. You seemed to slide through this." Luo Xia explained. "Your body couldn't support so much mental energy at once. When your physical conditioning lags behind your psychic power, your body rebels, headaches, fainting. I trained my body since I was a child. I reached the fitness of an advanced warrior early on, so I could handle mental energy better. But even for me, mine hasn't fully awakened. Right now, I can manipulate objects, but using mental energy still strains my body, so I don't use it much." Luo Hua and Luo Feng exchanged looks, new understanding settling in. It wasn't that their third brother liked to hide his abilities. He'd simply paid the price for using underdeveloped power. Tonight, however, Luo Feng had stepped into that same world, and all three brothers felt the future change its shape around them. Chapter 18: Incredible Physical Fitness. After their mental energy awakening, Luo Feng and Luo Hua were too excited to sleep. With nothing better to do, the three brothers, for the first time in a long while, ended up playing mobile games in the hospital room. Thanks to their martial training and reflexes, Luo Feng and Luo Xia dominated the virtual battlefield. Luo Hua, by contrast, was a complete noob. He didn't play much, and his controls were terrible. Often, while his brothers were already on a rampage, he was still stuck in the respawn fountain. They teased each other the whole night. It wasn't until very late, when Luo Hua finally couldn't keep his eyes open and passed out, that Luo Feng and Luo Xia began quietly cultivating in the room. The next morning, Luo Feng and Luo Xia were still full of energy. Luo Hua, however, looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, and slept soundly on the bed. "Xiao Feng, how are you?" their mother Gong Xinlan asked when she arrived at the hospital early with breakfast. Their father, Luo Hongguo, came along too. Luo Feng was doing warm-up drills by the bed when their parents appeared. "Dad, Mom, I'm fine," Luo Feng said with a smile. "Once we get discharged, we can go home." Luo Hua stirred and rubbed his eyes at the sight of them. "Dad, Mom, you're here," he mumbled. Luo Hongguo nodded, glanced around, and noticed one son missing. "Where's your third brother?" "He went to handle the discharge paperwork," Luo Feng replied. At that moment, Luo Xia walked in with a stack of documents. He gave his parents a small smile, waved the papers, and said, "The discharge is all done." Their parents exchanged looks. "Then have breakfast and we'll go home," they said. Once they were back home and had rested for a bit, Luo Xia and Luo Feng decided to head to the dojo of limits to test their current physical condition. The awakening of mental energy had sent their bodies through a dramatic change. Luo Feng estimated his punching power might have broken past 3,000 kilograms. They wanted to find out exactly where they stood. Because their quasi-warrior status was now logged in the citizen information system, they swiped ID cards at the entrance instead of trainee passes. It was just after 9 in the morning, and trainees were doing exercises along the grassy path. They exchanged polite greetings with a few familiar faces and headed up to the advanced trainee building. On the third floor, they heard the sounds of training, exhalations, shouts, the clack of wooden weapons. Luo Feng peered in and saw 3 trainees in uniform working with heavy sabers and long spears. Hua Jie, Brother Li, Brother Ti, training so early? He called out. Holy! Little prodigy! The 3 looked up in surprise and hurried over. Hua Jie, the oldest among them, smiled. Why are you 2 here? Oh, congratulations. I heard you both passed the quasi-warrior assessment. Luo Xia and Luo Feng exchanged a smile. You all knew? Your instructor told us the night you passed, Brother Li said with a chuckle. You 2 have been the reason we've been getting up to train early these past few days. Brother Tai grinned. Now that you've passed, why are you still up so early? Luo Xia answered, There's a martial artist combat assessment on August 1st. My elder brother and I came to prepare. After chatting for a few minutes, the 2 brothers moved on to the 4th floor, the instructor's area, where quasi-warriors are allowed. An old man on duty by the stairs started to stop them, but when he recognized them, he relaxed and smiled. Oh, it's you 2, Luo Feng and Luo Xia. You haven't been here in a while. Since you passed the quasi-warrior assessment, you can go up. Thanks, Uncle Li, they said. The 4th floor was similar in layout to the 3rd, but the equipment was much better. In front of one of the punching power testers, Luo Xia switched on the machine. Elder brother, you go first. Let's see how much your punching power has improved. Luo Feng nodded and took his place. He took a deep breath, then launched his fist forward like a coiled dragon. The target took the blow with a thunderous bang. Beep? How much? Luo Xia asked. Luo Feng checked the display, eyes widening. 4,056 kilograms. That's an increase of over 3,000 kilograms, Luo Xia muttered, impressed. In the original timeline, Luo Feng had only gained about 2,000 kilograms after his mental energy awakening. This time it was much greater, clear evidence the forging body technique Luo Xia had taught him was working. Your turn, Luo Feng said, stepping aside. Luo Xia approached the machine and, without any elaborate preparation, dropped his weight and punched. The impact reverberated through the hall like an explosion. Boom! How much? Luo Feng asked, breathless. Luo Xia glanced at the readout and smiled. 5,140 kilograms. Luo Feng's jaw dropped. 5,140 kilogram, over 1,000 kilograms more than his own result. And Luo Xia hadn't even exerted his full strength. He believed he could push it past 7,000 kilograms if he did. Both brothers knew why the increases were so dramatic. When someone cultivates gene energy for the first time, cells that have been starving for years absorb energy explosively, producing far larger gains than subsequent cultivations. But even so, what Luo Xia achieved was staggering. In ordinary cases, a first-time gene energy awakening might boost punching power by around 300 kilograms. 600 kilograms would be considered excellent. Anything over 1,000 kilograms on the first attempt marked someone as a genius. Luo Feng himself had increased by over 3,000 kilograms, a terrifying improvement, but Luo Xia had gone even further. He jumped from roughly 1,400 kilograms to over 5,000, an increase approaching 4,000 kilograms. Luo Feng stared at his younger brother, eyes wide. He had always known Luo Xia was talented, but this was beyond talent. It was a level that left even a seasoned elder brother speechless. Inside the cultivation hall, Luo Xia smiled helplessly as he watched his older brother, Luo Feng, gape in shock. He had deliberately hidden most of his strength during the tests. He hadn't even gone all out. If he'd revealed everything, his brother would have been even more astonished, but that kind of exposure would bring trouble. Being a little better than others marks you as a genius. Being far stronger makes you a prodigy. Both labels people can accept. But if your progress leaps too far beyond even prodigy level, suspicions follow. How did you get so strong so fast? Are you hiding something? Questions like that invite trouble, and Luo Xia didn't want to waste time fending off curious onlookers with the golden horned beast crisis closing in. So he cultivated quietly and kept his trump cards concealed. Big brother, shall we keep testing speed? Want me to go first this time? Luo Xia asked. Okay, you go first, Luo Feng said, eager. If Luo Xia's punching power had surged so much, maybe his speed had too. Luo Xia switched on the speed tester and took his place on the track. He controlled his breathing, pushed off with his toes, and shot across the lane like a gust of wind, intentionally holding back so the result would read low. At the end of the track, how fast did I run? He asked as he came to a stop. 1 mem/sec, Luo Feng called out, exaggerating the reading and marveling inwardly at his third brother's physical potential, terrifyingly impressive. Luo Xia nodded. The result was another deliberate understatement. In truth, he estimated that if he ran without holding back, he'd top 80 meters per second, but revealing that now would be foolish. "Oh, who are these two?" A friendly voice called from the hall entrance. Instructor Zhang Nian walked in with a smile. Luo Xia and Luo Feng snapped to attention. "Instructor!" Zhang Nian returned their salute and grinned. "I meant to look you two up the last couple of days. Didn't expect to find you here. Is there something you need, Instructor?" Luo Xia asked. Zhang Nian's smile widened. "I wanted to talk about the Extreme Martial Arts School. I've been hoping you'd join us." Luo Xia and Luo Feng exchanged a glance. "But we haven't passed the martial artist combat assessment yet," Luo Feng protested. "Normally, people could only officially join an organization after becoming martial artists." Zhang Nian waved a hand dismissively. "With your talent, you can join directly. You don't have to go through the standard assessment." Luo Feng blinked in confusion. "Join first?" "If you wait until after the martial artist combat assessment," Zhang Nian explained, "other organizations, Lei Dian Martial Hall, the Underground Alliance, and the like, will see your results and start courting you. They'll lure you with lavish offers. I'd rather use my advantage of being close to you to make you an offer first." He leaned in, smiling, "And the Extreme Martial Arts School's offer won't be stingy." He laid out the terms. Ordinary new martial artists receive a villa and a 1 million yuan startup fund. For geniuses like them, the school would give each a villa and a 20 million yuan startup fund to buy weapons and equipment. The school would also provide a free set of a guiding technique, a blade secret manual, and a movement secret manual, up to a combined value of 50 million yuan. Anything above that, the recruit would pay for themselves. "There are more benefits," Zhang Nian added. "As members, you get discounts when buying gear through the Martial Hall, support when you leave the base city to hunt monsters, and, most importantly, the opportunity to receive guidance from the world's strongest, Hong." He trailed off, letting the implication hang. Luo Feng looked at his younger brother. Their eyes met, and a silent accord passed between them. The offer was excellent. Joining the Extreme Martial Arts School was a clear advantage. "All right, Instructor. We accept," Luo Feng said. Zhang Nian laughed happily. "Excellent! Since you've agreed, I'll report to headquarters. But I'll need your current physical data first. Since you're both here, let's test now." "We already tested punching power," Luo Feng said with a grin. "Luo Xia's in mine." "So what were the numbers?" Zhang Nian asked. Luo Feng, 4,056 kilograms. Luo Xia, 5,140 kilograms, Luo Feng answered. For a moment, Zhang Nian said nothing. Then his face went pale and he stared at them as if they'd sprouted horns. "How much?" he demanded. "Did you say 5,140 kilograms?" Luo Feng repeated the figures. Zhang Nian's expression hardened into one of disbelief. "You two, test it again for me." He couldn't accept those numbers without verification. Reluctantly, the brothers punched the testing machine once more. Beep, 5,152 kilograms. Beep, Luo Feng, 4,060 kilograms. Zhang Nian stared at the screen, then at them, his disbelief turning into stunned excitement. Not long ago, their punching power had been around 1,000 kilograms during the quasi-warrior assessment. How had they suddenly jumped to over 4,000 and over 5,000 kilograms? "You two have successfully cultivated gene energy," Zhang Nian said, remembering something. Both brothers nodded. He clapped his hands together and laughed. "My district's Extreme Martial Arts School has produced 2 monster-level geniuses. Excellent! Let's test your speed and neural reaction times again," he said, still grinning. When the tests were finished, the results were staggering. Punching power, 4,060 kilograms. Speed, 3 meters per second. Neural reaction speed, elementary warrior, perfect. Intermediate warrior, optimal. Punching power, 5,152 kilograms. Speed, 9 meters per second. Neural reaction speed, elementary warrior, perfect. Intermediate warrior, perfect. Advanced warrior, excellent. Zhang Nian's excitement flushed his cheeks. "Luo Feng, Luo Xia, I'm contacting headquarters right now. You two will come with me there."